Hello there all. This is Kieran here, back at it with the Cyber Sector Initiative Zone. Back at it with another video for you guys today. I'm going to try to get 2 videos out for you guys. So back at it with another CompTia lab number 9, if I'm not to be mistaken. This is pretty much our 9th lab that we have left. I mean, we technically got 37 labs, but I think like after I get these 2 done, it should be less than 23 or 24 labs. So yeah, like we're doing pretty good. Yeah, like it's like at least 25 or less. So yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching this video in advance, and be sure to hit the like button, and let's get this video started. Don't want to waste your guys' time. In today's CompTia lab that we're going to be doing for our exercise is that we are going to be working with setting up remote access online in this lab. So we're going to be working with a virtual machine with Windows Server 2019, and we're going to most likely be using Kali Linux on top of it. So yeah, let's just get right into it. This is going to be a pretty quick one, but I think, depending on how fast I get this done, like you guys can basically take a look at it if you guys ever want to, and just slow it down or pause it. So yeah, let's get it done. Alright, I'm gonna click next. So what we do right here, we just gotta log in. We're gonna be logging in with our user credentials with Jamie. Just follow like the path right here if you're using the CompTia CompTia Certmaster Learn profile. But if you guys ever want to create like your own little dummy like account to just log into, you could always do that. So alright, so now that we're here, we have to go in and we have to prioritize our settings. So we need to go into Windows settings. Yeah, we gotta go into settings, and we gotta hit system. So we gotta hit go into settings and hit the system. I'm gonna type this in, system. Okay, that's probably not gonna help us. Alright, let's just go into the Windows search bar again. So click on this and then try to drill that in. Alright, there we go. Now we're in our system remote settings. So like what we're really going to be doing here, we're going to be setting up a remote connection. So once we're here, you go to remote settings. If you are the administrator, just make sure that you have like your permissions set as a administrator. Sometimes stuff like that can be like a little bit janky, but once you're there, you click on the remote tab. On the remote tab, under the remote tab desktop heading, you select allow remote connections to this computer. So we're gonna give it access. We click on OK. Be sure to hit apply and then hit OK. And then now that we're here, it's gonna say under the remote desktop users window. Let's see. We're gonna go. I'm gonna try to find it. Hold on. Let's see. It says in the select users or group window. Okay. So in remote desktop users window, click on add. Okay, let's see. Yep, sorry about that. I'm gonna try to find this. Give me 1 second. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna pause it and then I'll find it for you guys so I don't have to waste time. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, I found it. So basically, what you do from here is click on select users, and then once we're here, we just have to click on this button called add. Once we're on the add screen button or screen overview, you just type in this word called Renee and then click on OK. And then once we're done with that, click on OK. Now that we have with the user Renee listed, we have to click on OK. And let's close out our windows, and then we're going to sign out of Jamie, and we're going to switch over to a different computer, which is called DC10. So most likely we're going to be signing in as the administrator, and then once we do this, we're going to be signing right in. And now we have to go right into remote desktop, and then we're going to go straight into what we need done in terms of connecting to a different connection under a different user protocols. If you ever see Windows Server 2019 popped up, just close that out. You don't need to do anything with that. Once you're here, you need to click on, let's see, we have to, okay, like we need to click on remote desktop. So we just type this into the search bar. Once we have that, you're going to see remote desktop connection. You click on that. And then under the window, you have to type in a certain computer that you need to connect to. In this case, it's going to be PC 10, so we're going to do that. We're going to click on connect, and then it's going to ask you to put in a password. So I don't think, hold on. I think it should give us the ability. Oh, actually, yeah. Yep, I know exactly what we need to do. So we're going to just click on more choices, and then we're going to click on use a different account, and then from here we're going to type in our user that we just added, which is Renee, and then we just type in a password, which is this password right here. If you guys want to make it, you know, at home for like your own home lab, you could just create it by yourself. So once you do that, you press on OK, and then now we should start the process of being connected online through a remote connection. So what we do from here is that the initial connection is going to start, and what's going to happen is that we're going to wait for this to be secured, and once we get this connection going, we should be connected as Renee, which is going to give us the ability to do that. But it says right here, as the remote desktop window is minimize. Yep, notice the differences between local desktop and, yep, it's going to be DC10 and PC10. So we're basically logged into PC10 now that we're in a whole different computer. So now that we're here, we now have to do the same thing under system settings, and let's see what we get under the system. So you go right here, just type this in, settings, double colon, and then that'll be your system. Click on that. And then in the system window, in view basic information about your computer, yep, it's just going to tell you all your information about PC10. So, you know, like we basically have everything that we need to see with our computer. Just exit that out, click on the exit out button. The next step that we're going to do is go into command prompt. So we're going to do that. Just run this as a administrator. Actually, no, like we can't do that because the user account that we just made for Renee is not a administrator. So yep, sorry about that. Just run that, and then now that we're here, we have to type in IP config, and you know there's going to be a IP address that we're trying to look for, and we see right here our IP address is this address right here. And if you guys are trying to find this answer for this particular lab, for any of you that are doing it, your IP address is 10.1.24.101, and that'll be our answer. There we go. I am always right on the money. Let's go. And yeah, right here it says right here on the remote desktop toolbar, click on close to disconnect the connection. So okay, so what we'll do from here, we're just going to disconnect from the connection, and let's just click on this X button, and this will get us disconnected. Click on OK, and there we go. So now we are back to DC10 virtual machine, and we pretty much got most of this done. This isn't really difficult, it's just more like you have to kind of just be a little bit careful with how you type things out when setting up remote, you know, desktop connections. But for the most part, this is actually very fun for anybody that is wanting to, like, you know, understand this type of skill and kind of like, you know, use it as like a, you know, portfolio project. Definitely test things out and keep growing with this type of skill. You know, CompTia labs are really fun to do, and I really like doing them. So that's why that I like putting out these videos, because it stands out better for you to, like, you know, understand knowledge and, you know, get better with it and keep, you know, growing with it. So now that we're here, we're pretty much almost done. We have to click on the terminal emulator. So click on this, and then we're going to be putting in a command, which is the apt space list open SSH server. Yep, open SSH dash server. Once we're here, this is going to verify that our server got installed. Once we're here, we have to determine whether password authentication is to be enabled. So we're gonna go right here, and sadly we cannot autofill. Basically, like we can't really like copy and paste, you know, this type of stuff into, you know, a lab per se. Unfortunately, because CompTia doesn't do it like the Google, you know, cybersecurity certificate or, you know, whatsoever. So unfortunately, you know, for you guys that are watching, you would have to probably do this by yourself. But once we're here, we just have to type in this command. Hold on, let me just type it out, and then I'll tell you guys what you need to do. Also, be a little bit careful with what I just did. Sometimes the wording is not always properly registered into the computer, because one, it's running off of the internet, so it's like a little bit laggy with the input commands. So what we're doing right here, we're going to use the cat command to go into a certain folder for our SSHD configuration, and then we're going to use the grep command to use a password authentication to run the process. So therefore, you know, we can get more information with the SSH server to intercept the connection and, you know, have it configured. So I'm going to run that, and then that's going to start the process, and then I have to type in system ctl space status ssh, and it seems like we are currently active. So it says right here the output of the command should include a line that says active running. At the bottom of the display you should see a line including server listening 0.0.0. Is that 0? Let's see. Yep, we see it right here. So this is what we need to see, and what we do from here is we're going to exit. So we're going to click on Q. I'm going to click on Q, and then we're just right back at it. We have to determine the IPv4 address with Linux Ethernet 0. So what we got to do is that we got to type in IP space A space S space ETH0, and here we go. So our IP address for the ETA0 interface of Kali, let's see, I could expand this a little bit deeper for you guys. Alright, there we go. So we see right here, this is our broadcast multicast of our IP address, and what we see from here, we see two separate IP addresses. I'm most likely going to say this is going to be 10. This is going to be our IP address, the very first one, 10.1, 10.1.16. I could be wrong here, but I think I'm right. 16.66. Alright, there we go. So that's our answer right there. The reason why I even came to that level of saying that was our IP address, because if you see right here, it says ETH0. This is clearly our connection that we're trying to understand where the IP address link is coming from. But once you saw like all this like code being jumbled together, which is link / ether, and then this is most likely going to be, you know, this could be basically used as like a MAC address, but this is going to be like the secondary address that's going to be connected with the INET, you know, IP address with where you see right here 10.1.16.66 /24 notation, and then this is probably the subnet address that is also connected to it. So, you know, this is some pretty interesting information. You know, if you ever have to like understand networking, you know, languages, so that's always like pretty important to do. So now that we're done with that, we got to go straight back to PC10, which is always going to be a little bit, you know, well, I mean, for this particular objective, this should not be difficult, but for those of you that are doing it, you know, by yourself, you know, as like a home lab type of thing, this shouldn't be difficult, but this is going to be a pretty interesting task to do. So once we're here, we're going to go back into Jamie. We're going to sign in with the word password, or just make up your own little password for anybody doing it by yourself. Once we're here, we have to go into the software called Putty. So you see PuTTY right here. If you don't have it on your computer, download it. And what we do from here is that we have to create a configuration. Well, basically we have to configure this software to connect to that IP address for our Kali Linux. So once we're here, we have to type in this IP address to the IP address box. So I'm just going to autofill it. This is going to be our IP address, and this is 10.1.16.66, and then our port is going to be port 22, and then we have to click on open to initiate the connection. I'm going to click on it right now, and then it's going to ask us a security alert to say blah 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 blah, host key is not cached to the server, all this, like basically, it's a protocol where it's going to ask you to say this is not cached for the server, so you have no guarantee that the server is a computer you think it is. So it's telling you, like, if you connect to this, it's not going to guarantee that you're going to be connected, but it's basically giving you that security alert for anybody that's wanting to know that. So we already know what our computer is that we're connecting to, so all we're going to do is just click accept, and there we go. We have the window right here, but what we got to do is that we got to type in our login information, which is root. So we're gonna type in ROOT, and for anybody that makes up like their own little user, just do that. And then we have to type in password. That's capital A, lowercase a, and then 2 money symbols, and then lowercase w, 0 RD. And it looks like we are connected, most likely. So let me just maximize this a little bit bigger. Well, actually, no, that's not good because you guys can't see it. So now that we're here, we have to now type in the host name of the system. So while you're here, you click on, you enter in host name, type it in, and then click on enter. That's going to be Kali. And our next step is going to be the mkdir command. So we're going to create a folder on Kali in the current working directory called mkdir remote. So we're going to type in mkdir space remote and click on enter, and we should be good to go. That should score us, and there we go. So now we created a folder called mkdir space remote. So that's just going to be our little directory. So directory that we just made into the server, well, into the connection actually, which is very interesting because you would never think, well, I would never think Windows computers and Kali Linux can actually communicate, on the same, on 2 different operating systems. So that's very interesting that, PuTTY actually does a good job with that. So now that we're done with that, you could just type in exit, and then we're going to type in the search bar a particular okay, we need to type in the cmd command. So we're gonna type in cmd, click on that, and now that we're here, we have to type in this command right here, ssh root 10.1.1666. put that in, and then click on enter, and then once we're entering that, that should give us our window to showcase our connection. Alright, there we go. So this is going to be prompting next. It's going to say, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Type in Y and then click on enter. So, oh, okay, yeah, yep, you have to type in yes or no. So type in yes and click on enter, and once we're here, we have to type in our password. I'm just going to autofill it, but if you guys have your own little password that you create, just put that in. So it should be inside the system for me. I'm going to click on enter, and there we go. We should be connected. So what we have to do is that we have to type in this command here, which is touch squiggly. I forgot what this type of symbol is, but put in that little squiggly line symbol that's next to your number 1 key, and then do / hush login. I have that in. I'm going to click on enter, and we should be good to go. That command that we have to put in is we're disabling the automatic connection message by putting in a, you know, hush login message where it's telling the computer to not tell you that as soon as you log in. So once we have that in, we should have that scored completely, and there we go. So now that we got that, we're going to we're going to type in exit to exit the session, and we should be good to go. So now that we're here, we're in command prompt. We're going to type in this command right here, ssh root 10.1.1666, and then once we're here, we put in password, and once we're done with this, click on enter. And then after we do that, this initial message that we had from the top is no longer shown, so it doesn't show us all this jumbled, coded messaging out of like what you saw initially. So that's basically the difference that we did for this particular remote connection. So now that we're done with that, we're just gonna type in exit, and well, yeah, let's just put that in. Okay, actually, yeah. So now that we're done with that, we should be done. So I'm gonna just exit out of this, and now that we're done with that, we're just off with the questions. Alright, so first question is, the remote access tool SSH is limited to Linux systems only? No, that is false. I'm gonna go with false. Alright, we are good with that. We're right on the money. Next question is, on a standard Windows system, remote desktop is default enabled for all users? No, that is not true. Alright, we are right on that too. Alright, so what's the next question? What functions can the tool PuTTY be used for? Most likely you could use it for terminal, emulator, network file transfer, and I think serial console. I'm going to go with that. There we go. There we go. I'm on fire. I am currently 3 for 3. Alright, so next question is, when initiating a SSH connection, which is, that's short for abbreviation for a secure secure shell connection, what is the typical command line interface syntax? This is tough. I'm gonna probably go with, let's go with that one, open 22. Okay, nope, we're not right on that. I'm gonna go with that one. No, we're not right on that. Let's do this one. SSH ID. Oh no. Okay, so yeah, it's this one. It's SSH username at. Yeah. So the reason why this is most likely the syntax is, this is like when you initiate the connection, your username automatically pops up when you're putting in your login information, and then once you initiate the connection, that's where the CLI's syntax is to be committed from the time that you create the connection and you're already connected. So yeah, that's pretty that's pretty tricky. If you ever kind of get like a question like that on the CompTia Security Plus exam or Network Plus, that will always kind of like be a little bit tricky for some people, and good enough I've never really had to deal with that. So just be sure to like always know like little things like that, by the way. Alright, last question. What is the form of authentication supported by SSH by default? Man, this should be easy. I think it's password. Yeah, I'm right, man. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I got all these questions. If you guys wanted to know why I got that answer correct, is because when we were when I was setting up with the SSH connection using Windows through PuTTY or through the command line interface, the SSH server functions was asking for a password every time that you logged in with the user's credentials. So that's always a key fundamental factor to know that whenever you're using SSH, SSH will most likely be a password that most users use whenever they're trying to like connect to the internet, incognito. And I do know, on the hacker side of things, like that's where most people probably utilize like their connections to be ran through SSH, or most likely using some sort of, I'm not even too sure like what type of technology people go with, especially when they're using like high level computers, whether they're hacking using like Windows or using Kali Linux. But it definitely using SSH is probably like one of the biggest online encryption methods in order to kind of like hide certain connections to not be seen. But yeah, that's pretty interesting, and it's a very strong capability function. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. We pretty much got this done pretty quick, and as I expected this to be quick, this wasn't really difficult. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. This is a quick little video that I wanted to do, and I will see you guys later. I got another video coming, and peace out, and thank you guys for watching. This is the Cyber Sector Initiative Zone signing off. Have a good day. I got one more video coming, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.